Recreation. Now, I'd like to call the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Here. Commissioner Shiwashi, present. Commissioner Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell, not present either. Commissioner Teeter.
Here.
Vice Chair Bites.
Here.
And Chair Doherty.
Here. And approval of minutes. I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstains?
I have to abstain. I was on here.
Andy knows. Okay, thank you.
Any presentations this evening? Okay, oral requests. Unfinished business.
All right, good evening. So in your packets, there was the revised report from the annual planning for the Parks and Recreation Commission. Or it was in the agenda that went out. So hopefully you've read the report. It summarizes the conversation that we had at the previous Parks and Recreation Commission to update the goals and work plans for this coming year. So tonight I'm looking for a final approval from the commission for the 2024 Parks and Recreation Goals and Work Plan.
Comments?
I move that we approve the 2024 Parks and Recreation Goals and Work Plan. I think you put a lot of time and effort into this, and it looks like a good plan, and we'll help carry it out.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you.
Okay, next we have new business and the story walk at Jack Fisher Park.
All right, so again, I included the report in the agenda that went out to all of you, so hopefully you had some time to look over it. As you recall, in November, Nicole King, the Campbell librarian, came in and did a presentation proposal of sorts to have a story walk included in a park in Campbell. They had done a temporary story walk at the Campbell Community Center when they first moved over there in their temporary building as more of a wayfinding measure throughout the campus. And it worked for a while until, first big storm that came through, and it just wasn't something that was sustainable long term. This is part of a bigger initiative that they're doing as a county and a district to meet some strategic plan goals that they have of their own. And so they're looking to partner with local agencies to find public spaces to install story walks. And I went out to Jack Fisher Park, which has been kind of identified as a park that would work well for this type of amenity. And there's a lot of families that visit that park. It has a pathway around the turf space that lends itself to a walking path. Library staff and myself went out there and walked this space. And you'll notice in the report view, the aerial view of the park was installed. And the point is that you can kind of see the next one and carry forward. This would be, if the Park and Recreation Commission chooses to consult the board to City Council for approval, there would be an official MOU between the Santa Clara County Library District and the City of Campbell. Installation can be paid for through the Library Foundation or can be done in-house. That's to be determined, I think, as far as staff timing and resources. But the Library Foundation will also be purchasing all of the signs that go for the story walk, and the library would be responsible for ongoing maintenance as well as changing the stories out 3 times per year. So the report does include the signs that they would be using with the vendor that they have pre-selected, and also includes some sample signs for you so you can see. It kind of shows the different height, the range of height that they can be installed at. And again, we don't have a policy in place for amenities to be installed in our public parks that are not memorial and based, and aren't within a project scope. And so we're kind of flying blind on how to make this happen, as we did with the Kindness Rock Garden as well. So tonight, just looking for if this is something that the Park and Recreation Commission would like to move forward, would need approval for me to take this to City Council.
Well, a question for you. I could ask this way. I don't see a downside. Is there a downside as far as work goes or
No.
effort or time or
It's
anything
just-
else?
Again, it's when we build projects, we're using community input and Parks and Recreation Commission, and we're kind of going through this. So adding an amenity after the fact, there is no real process for that. And so, no, there is no downside. It promotes literacy and engagement and active activities with families and children. So it aligns with the city's, general plan and policies as well, as far as the collaboration with the library and promoting literacy throughout our community. So
Okay.
to answer your question in a very long way, no.
So when the red is on, that means this is on. Is that-
Yes.
Okay. If I'm correct, a lot of the park uses by smaller kids because of everything that was put in there, correct?
Yeah, it
So
is
it's kind of
neighborhood park.
Fits.
Yes, and the play structure does meet the needs for that age group.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Everybody agree. So now you would like us to vote?
The commission is in favor. We would need a roll call vote, not roll call, but just a vote to approve to push to council.
Their motion.
I move to adopt, recommend this to the city and have it.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Thank you.
Okay, recreation program overview.
I am the star of the show tonight. So, at the end of last year, we started having supervisors come in to kind of give you an overview of the program areas that they oversee. To kind of, for people who aren't super familiar with the recreation side of the Parks and Recreation. So tonight we have Lauren Council. She's one of our recreation supervisors to kind of give you a brief overview of all the program areas that she is responsible for. Good evening. Thank you so much.
There we go. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I've been really looking forward to meet, if I haven't already met each of you, and share more about our program area. As Natasha said, I'm a recreation supervisor with Campbell Recreation. Is there a slideshow that they can see? Oh, perfect. And they're not here with me today, but in spirit, I have to, of course, recognize our team. We have Gracie Farrell, who's a recreation coordinator, as well as Tiffany Causey, who's a recreation specialist. And we, as the division that oversees all preschool, day camp, fitness, and enrichment classes, we really aim to meet the needs of our community through activities that really provide opportunities to engage with social interaction and focus on health, wellness, and not just, emotional wellness, but we also have, I know you got to learn more about the sports division, but we also have activities that keep our kids active and moving and whatnot for our kids through adults. So if you want to go to the next slide. So we start as young as 0 years old. We have Musical Me has been with us for several years, and they offer classes as a contractor where it's from 0 to 5. So we really try to capture someone as soon as that they are part of this, part of our community, that they can join our programs and go all ages. And so as our children grow and become toddlers, they can transition into different toddler, parent, and toddler activities, such as our Fun for Little Ones and Toddler Time, which is a really great opportunity to introduce our preschool classrooms and the activities that we do for the preschool age students. We have 3 age groups for our preschool program at Campbell Recreation at the Campbell Community Center. And our goal is to really start and create that foundation and love for learning through play. And it's something that, our program's been around for over 30 years. And I think it really speaks volumes that our team, who are our hourly employees that have been teaching with us, most of them have worked with us for over 15 years. And we have someone who I want to say is approaching 23 years. And so I was on a call today with a parent who just talked so highly about our program, and it's really something that we're very proud of for preschool. We also have opportunities, again, once they're in preschool, it's going to be independent. Parents aren't going to be involved. However, we do allow parent helpers to come into the program. And then we, of course, have also enrichment classes for our as young as 3 to start with our pre-tap and ballet, as well as hula. We have art classes, more music classes, and we always do our very popular story time with Santa every year. And it gives our community an opportunity to get together, and Santa reads a story, and they get to take a photo with Santa Claus. Something I wanted to highlight that this has been really exciting this year, our teacher, Miss Janet, asked, she's like, I know you have the nutrition program for 50 plus or for 60 plus. Can we visit them and like come and trick or treat or do crafts or things like that? So they've started doing monthly activities with our senior nutrition program, and they've come into every month, usually goes along with a holiday or theme or whatnot. And the seniors have had such a wonderful time getting to interact with our youth, our preschool students, and they'll oftentimes sing some of their songs and whatnot. And it's just been such a great intergenerational opportunity, and we're looking to see how we can expand upon that. Then when we get to our youth and teens, again, we have classes and camps that we offer both in-house with our temporary employees, such as our dance. And then we work with a lot of contractors who provide these programs that are really the true experts, whether it's with music, art, gymnastics, cheerleading, cooking. I mean, you name it, we have it. It really can give children the opportunity to not just increase their social interaction and to unplug, get off the screens, but to build those skills. Public speaking, for example, that's something that our classes start as young as 7 years old. And I think it's really starting to become recognized as how important that is for our young kids to have those opportunities to gain those skills. Coding, of course, is very popular with our robotics and Legos and whatnot. And then everyone loves, we have our kids night at the CCC, which gives parents the opportunity to hit the town or have a quiet night in and drop their kids off at our preschool classrooms, where we have different activities for the kids from 6:30 to 6 to 9:30. Our Campbell Day Camp, we're in our pre-busy season. We're getting ready for our very busy season. So if you've ever been out to John D. Morgan Park during June through August, I'm sure you've seen hundreds of kids running around, all in different color shirts with that big, I had to use that picture of one of our campers who was also in our preschool program with that sun. And so we offer our camps for ages 4 all the way to 15 and a half. And on average, including our before and after kids, we have about 325 campers out there per week, and we offer this for 8 weeks long. And this was something, again, I was excited to share, is many of our campers have grown up to become leaders themselves. So as you see in this photo here, we have Tiffany Causey, our specialist, who was once a part-time employee, with a camper / preschool student who then became, her camp name is Buzz. And she was a camp leader for us actually in 2020 when we had to, of course, change everything and still provide that childcare, social skill development, fun, a safe environment for kids during the height of the pandemic. And we have to go back, sorry, real quick. On average, we have about 40 plus leaders that are out there with us every day. Again, they are out there entertaining the kids. They come up with activities that are 15 to 30 minutes, every 15, 30 minutes, planning different things to get them moving, engaged, building that self-confidence, social skills and whatnot, and just having fun creating those memories. Another part of our division is the Youth Commission. And so Gracie Farrell, who I mentioned, who's the coordinator, she is the staff liaison for the Youth Commission. And so this is for all of our Campbell residents who are grades 7th through 12th grade during that school year. They have the opportunity to serve as a commissioner, just like yourself, and maybe future Parks and Rec commissioners. They attend bi-monthly meetings and really work on how they can engage teens in our community. A big focus is on mental health. And so we just had a teen wellness event that was really successful. We had over 62 teens who signed up and participated at the Campbell Community Center, where they focus on mental health, physical health, and there was a nutritionist who spoke, again, part of physical health as well. They did bracelet making, which is of course very popular with Taylor Swift fans, and Love on a Leash came out with therapy dogs. And then we also had resources from LGBTQ through the county, as well as SALT therapy and NAMI for on mental health. And so we were so excited. This was this past Saturday right after our open house, and to get that kind of turnout from the teens, and even our resource people had said, they're like, we haven't been to a teen event where this many teens actually came and truly engaged. And so that was a really great success for our youth commissioners, who again planned this event with the support of Gracie as the staff liaison. So we continue, of course, through adults. And so with adults, we have a big variety of different activities from Zumba, dance, hula, fitness. We even do a small group personal training in our weight room. Our weight room also did open up at the beginning of fall, as you can see. If you follow us on social media, and if you don't, I hope you do, but we were very excited to reopen our weight room. And so we made a little video for marketing to try to increase the awareness of the weight room opening. We now have passes. You can get a 10, 20 pass or unlimited monthly pass. And so we decided to go 80s style and eye the tiger and have a good time with trying to promote this weight room opening first time since COVID. So that was very exciting. With enrichment, we are looking to grow the enrichment opportunities. We're really covered with all the fitness and dance, but we do have gardening was a new enrichment class we started this year. Art is something that we've had for a long time, and we're looking at also starting some parent type classes as well. The fun run, which I know oftentimes, thank you, you have provided great support to us for the fun run for our 10K, 5K, and Kids Dash. We even have some runners right here who placed. Was it in the age 30 category? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But again, our fun runs really promote health, wellness, and bring the community together. And I was so thrilled. So I inherited this program in the last couple of years. And so I didn't really get to see it truly pre-COVID. Actually, I did see the Valentine Fun Run right before the shutdown. And so we were so excited this time for Valentine Fun Run. We were back to our pre-COVID numbers. We had 723 10K, 5K runners out there, 73 Kids Dash, which was an increase of 236 runners since Oktoberfest of this past October. So we are back, and I mean, we are looking to surpass 800, go towards 900 in these next few fun runs. So again, we host this in February for the Valentine Fun Run, and then Oktoberfest in October, which is at the same time as the big Oktoberfest down in downtown Campbell. So it's a great kickoff for that at Campbell Park. And this, as I'm passionate about recreation as a whole, and what is my most favorite part of recreation is really providing opportunities for all individuals of all abilities and all ages. And so just to share a little bit, my background is actually working and providing programs specific for individuals with disabilities, or I'd like to say people of all abilities. And so when I came over to Campbell, my goal was to start offering some adaptive classes and really focus on how we can become more inclusive. And so you'll see we started a pilot. We're going to be bringing an adaptive art class this fall for individuals with disabilities or of all abilities or special needs. And so we did a trial class a few weeks ago, and it was a huge hit. And so we're looking forward to launching that this fall. I have an existing relationship with San Jose State, as I used to work for the city of Santa Clara when I ran the therapeutic programs there. And in any given semester, we'd bring in 30 to 40 volunteers who would really help us with creating those smaller ratios, providing that redirection and support to our participants. So excited to reestablish that, as well as continue to promote that inclusion in our programs. All individuals are welcome. I do, as a certified therapeutic recreation specialist, I do have an intake form where I have anybody that does share that they have a disability, or their parents share, to get more information to see how we can again best support them in our programs, if there's any triggers, sensory needs, things like that, so they can be successful and really try to break down those obstacles for their participation. And I meant to add at the end, and I failed to do that, but do follow us on social media. If you're not, if you're not already, we something I've taken on that I really have enjoyed was marketing for our department. And so we just appreciate you sharing the events and the opportunities that we have. You never know who's going to come across it, whether it's through Facebook or social or Instagram or Twitter or whatnot. So appreciate those who are already liking and following. And if you're not, we hope you will. So Campbell Recreation is our name. So yeah. Any questions?
I have a question. Someone else wants to go first. First of all, I saw the picture of that ballet. My daughter did that like 10 years ago, and it was great. So
With Miss Rachel?
that lady with the blonde hair.
Yep,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
been there for over
Yeah,
20 years with
Went to
us.
the Heritage Theater for the grand finale. Yeah, I think think the parents loved it more than the kids, but it was great. My son's doing the volleyball right now too, so.
Awesome.
But my question was, and they're all great, any challenges? I mean, this is all, sounds great,
Mhm.
but there might be some challenges that you
Yeah.
have to, I'd love to know what they are.
I think something, a challenge that our department in general are facing when it comes to registrations is we find that people are oftentimes registering at the last minute. And so we have such great programs, but oftentimes making sure that we are getting that awareness out so that people can register ahead so we can really build those numbers. And so we just find that, you know, everyone at the last minute wants to join us. And so we really try to be flexible with that because we want to keep offering these awesome programs and classes and making it really accessible for everyone. So I think with whether it's COVID or whatnot, that kind of, again, has played some impact, I would say. I think something, again, that's across the board for a lot of agencies that we're very actually fortunate with when it comes to hiring our Campbell rec leaders. I mean, we have such a love from our community for the Campbell Day Camp, and where a lot of cities have expressed challenges with hiring for the rec leaders for summer programs, we somehow have been the ones that really have been done well on, you know, and I mean, I think they've done over 30 interviews in the last week and a half for new hires. And so while it's not been, luckily, knock on wood, a challenge for us, it's definitely something that I think you probably have seen in all different types of industries. Hiring is definitely a challenge. TK. The TK, yes. So another challenge would be the school districts, which is great for them, have brought back the TK age so that kids can start TK programs a lot sooner, a lot younger. So our enrollment has significantly taken a hit. And this is something that everyone in recreation, I know my coordinator was just at a conference and they were talking about this. And so it's something that many recreation agencies are looking how we can revamp and pivot. And that's where we're looking at adding a lot of more of like enrichment for that age to help supplement in addition to TK. We've also brought our ages down a bit so that they have more hours and more time for the younger ones as well. One more thing I was going to share. Oh, one thing I was going to share. I don't know if you're aware, but this data now is showing that 1 in 36 children are on the autism spectrum. And so that's, again, something that I'm really passionate about, how we can make our already great programs really inclusive and accessible for all individuals, as well as offer these adaptive programs, because it is so much more common than I think it was even 5 years ago. And so I really, Santa Clara actually no longer has the therapeutic program that I was the coordinator for. Once I left, unfortunately, didn't get filled. So that's a whole market of people that I'm looking forward to seeing how we can build upon and create an adaptive program, because there's definitely a need for it.
Actually, that's great to hear. I think it's a great idea. You're right. There are a lot of kids who need a little bit extra help. So that's
Yes.
awesome. One last question. Do the programs break even for the city as far as, you know, money we bring in and money we spend?
So yeah, so we did a lot of revamping during COVID and restructuring of our organizational chart and really separated recreation and community services. So ISIF, Ray had kind of reported out to you guys before, who does sports, aquatics, and community center. And then this side of the house, yes, they cover all the full-time staff, everything that's in there. All the costs that are in those programs are covered by the revenues that are generated. Yeah. The community services side is a different qualities, but yes.
Are any of the classes subsidized? Or do people pay kind of the cost of attending the class?
They pay the cost to attend. We do work with, there's an organization called Go Kids that has been really great to work with, where they, if people qualify, they are able to have a majority of the camp fees or class fees covered. And so that's something that's, I know, has really helped. We have our youth scholarship program, of course, that is for Campbell residents, which can help out as well with the fees. But yeah, the goal is to make it as accessible as possible. And so we really do try to see what other cities are putting for their fees, because we want to make sure that where people can access our programs and be a part of it, but we can also cover our costs.
No, just one last comment. I've always been very happy whenever I had my kids enroll in some of the programs here. So great job.
Thank you so much. Well, I can't leave without just saying, I mean, the team of temporary employees, any given time of year, we might have either 30 people working it for us or 90 people, depending on the season, of course. And they are the ones on the front lines. They are the ones who work so hard and are the ones who are creating these amazing experiences for our participants in our community. So they're really the ones to, again, recognize. And I'm very proud to be able to supervise the team that we have.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Doing an excellent job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have the Subcommittee for Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Todd just gave me the look, so.
What's that?
You just gave me the look.
I can talk about it if you like.
So, I'm trying to think where we were last time we met, so. We've had the RFP closed in January, we had 6 responders, we chose to have 4 of them come back to interview. The group was consistent of myself, Todd, Laura Merriman, and Stephen Rose from Community Development. After the interviews, it was 3-1 for one of them, and then we strong armed the 4th into seeing with the rest of us.
Seek the light of day.
So we are going to council on March 19th to award a contract with the selected firm. And we will be kicking off this master plan on April 1st. Todd and I are looking for the Parks and Recreation Commission to form a subcommittee of 2 people.
Up to
Two,
3.
yeah.
No more than 3.
2 to 3 people who are going to commit to participating on a regular basis, who can be available, who can do possible interviews with the firm if needed, show up to workshops, help promote it within the community, come to council meetings when it's being discussed or if it's a study session, and then also be the liaison back to your colleagues at monthly meetings that you can report out what work took place with the subcommittee during that time. So that's what we're looking for if you're up for it.
What time period?
For the next year. So if you term out in December, we would just replace that position, or you're welcome to continue on.
That sounds very interesting.
Right, okay. Well, I think we first need for you guys to decide whether or not you want one. So let's start there and then we can decide who's on it.
I move to motion to have that, have it.
Have a subcommittee for the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you.
So, I'm sorry, Tasha, I was still a little bit, interested in what I think of it is. Say interviews, is it interviews with? who's the-
So they have asked us to, there's a variety of task lists that are on, my brain.
What is the
stuff.
scope of
Yeah,
work?
thank you.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking of. And so there's a variety of tasks and there are some like Zoom calls, to get feedback and ask questions of the Park and Recreation Commission or of other selected people within the community who have decision-making powers or whatever. So and those can be done via Zoom. So it's not necessarily in person. There will be a lot of work that happens over the summer. One of the things that we have asked for is for them to train our staff, and if commissioners were interested, to how to gather the information at pop-up events so that the consultants aren't coming. And so it would be more, we could probably get a lot more on a weekly basis of information versus like 2 or 3 community workshops. So if we're constantly engaging with them. So we're going to be utilizing a lot of the Park and Recreation month events that we do in July as opportunities to engage the community and to vet some of that stuff out for them. So there'll be a lot of work that takes place over the summer for sure. And then there'll be kind of periodically. The other thing is mainly participating in council meetings. If there's a study session or something, the subcommittee and Park and Recreation Commission is present to have a discussion.
So I'd be very interested, but I'm gonna be busy for the next few months. So I think if I do participate, maybe we should have 3 members and I could be a backup or, yeah.
Yeah, as I say, I would love to do it, but I know I'm traveling too much to commit to that time. So if the committee needed someone here or there, I'm more than happy from a town, but I can't cautiously commit to it. Just down there.
Still there. And we, Alan and Tracy are both out today too. So, if the. Well, I don't want to nominate them too if they have other commitments either. So
That's part of my problem. I'm involved in 3 other volunteer organizations. And we do a lot of camping over the summer, so I would not be available.
and it'll be not just you guys over the summer. What I'm saying is in the summertime, my team will be trained as well. So similar to the participation that you did last summer with Park and Recreation Month, kind of that same scope, right? Like if you could commit to coming, and it's not nearly 31 days, so it's gonna be a little bit fewer. So if you keep to one event over the course of that month, that would be helpful to participate.
It's probably not mandatory that you have a subcommittee. So if we don't, I mean, I think if we only get 1 volunteer, we're not gonna pull Frank into everything and carry the weight of 3. But we can certainly carry this on to the next meeting and see if we get, so I think if we don't get at least 2, we would probably recommend going on without a subcommittee. But even without a subcommittee, I would suggest that we would make all of you available to the consultants for interviews, because really you are the representatives of this community. And so even if you can't be active or proactive participant, we would like you to all be participants. So if you could make yourselves available to the greatest extent possible, which if you're out of town, you're out of town, for interviews, and if and when there are work sessions, you would all be equally invited. But if there is a subcommittee, we would want that subcommittee to maybe take a little bit more of a focused role. Again, we could make it work either way, but thought this would be an opportunity to see if there was a higher level of interest and an ability to make that next level of commitment. If so, great. If not, this will still be a successful process.
We could table it, put it on unfinished business for next month.
I would think that would be a good
The
idea.
March 19th council report will include the scope of work along with the calendar that they grid out to kind of
Okay.
show the timeline, so that we could share that at the April meeting for a more in-depth discussion for you guys.
Yeah, I think that would be an excellent idea. Thank you. And so now we move on to Parks and Creek Trail Committee reports.
Well, I'm out at the Campbell Trail quite a bit, and rain or shine, I love seeing joggers, bicyclists, walkers. I'm out there with all of them, and the playground equipment. The kids, they don't care that it's all wet. They're out there playing. It's wonderful to see. There was guys out there picking up all the trash cans on it was just yesterday. So I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
The basketball courts were busy. Any other parks?
John D. Morgan, it's, I've been walking my dog and it's looking good.
Yeah.
The ground was a little soggy, but other than that, it was good. I go to Jack Fisher a lot. It's very well used. The equipment's dry before kids get on, so because of all the butts probably in the equipment, so yeah, very well used. Lots of young children, so I could see that story walk being a success.
That's how.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else? Trees. On the committee reports, chairs, PG is not here. Chair Mitchell is not here.
No trees. huh?
No trees.
Trees.
Okay.
Standing tall and firm.
Well, I don't know about that.
Special events. Chair Goodrich.
The only special events I'm aware of, was just mentioned the Valentine Fun Run, which Sharon and I were there. So, my story with that event, I'll say real quick, is that Sharon and I were posted kind of at the end of the trail when they had to turn around. And there was a sign there, but if Sharon and I weren't there, we probably have 4 people still running. We kind of made them turn around. And the highlight, of course, was when Todd came by. And then I know that the Easter parade is coming up. So I don't know if you're gonna talk about that coming up or not. Okay, so.
Okay, staff reports, parks.
I think we'll have Bob come up first today. Last time I went first and gave you capital stuff and then Bob, so we'll flip the order this week, this month.
Oh, boy.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's winter and we're busy. What are we doing? We're doing irrigation inspections, so that when the heat hits, we're ready. Well-maintained irrigation systems save water. It's a lot of work right now. You may have even seen us out in some of the fields doing repairs at John Morgan Park. We're also going to be working on some of the medians where we've inspected the irrigation, flagged it, and going to be coming out early in the morning and do repairs on that. Try to keep our landscape looking really sharp. I did want to talk about John Morgan Park because we are using Field and Fairway, and there's other products that are just the same as this or very similar. It's a calcified clay. It's an irregular particle like this, and it looks kind of like coffee grounds. And what it does is it keeps the soil aerated and allows water and nutrients to be held in place so that our grass is as healthy as can be. It's very mushy at John Morgan Park. We were out there with the deep tine aerator some time ago. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So we had the deep tine aerator out there today, and we have the big 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch spike that we shoot in the ground. I think you guys remember that. I brought that in a long time ago. Then we take the bag and we dump it over the hard packed areas. And then we rake in this material so that it fills in those holes. That way the air and the roots can continue to go down. If the soil's boggy and wet, the roots won't grow into it. There's no air. You end up with funguses and diseases. So we're actually doing a lot right now and to try and make our sports turf as playable and as enjoyable as possible. You may also notice some shrub work that we're doing. This is the time, actually, right now is the time to hard prune any shrubs at, let's see, Fisher Park, where you like to go. You may have noticed the blue plumbago. We've cut it way back. That's around the playground area. The reason that is that shrub blooms blue on new wood. So if we let it get bigger and bigger, it just turns into a green, big green bush. So we cut it back hard. We apply a special flowering plant fertilizer. And we're also doing that same activity on the daylilies, which are at the portals. Some of you may have noticed that the daylilies are cut down to a low level. So we do that to invigorate the plant. And then we put the special flowering shrub fertilizer. The flowering shrub fertilizer gives you lots of blooms, but it doesn't give you a lot of green growth, which is something we'd have to take care of at another time. Since we are near City Hall, you may have noticed that Brightview Tree Services is in the area. They've been doing some trimming around this facility. As you know, we have 16 maintenance zones, and we're actually working in Zone 6, which is near City Hall. That's going on as we speak. Well, not as we speak, this week. This week, yeah. And, you know, with Lauren, she was talking a lot about the students and the children playing at the community centers and all our other facilities. So our playgrounds have a product called Fibar. It's an engineered wood fiber, and we routinely backfill those playgrounds up to the proper level so that if a child does fall, he has the proper, or she has the proper attenuation of the impact. So that's just a couple of the things that we have going on. Of course, there's a lot more than that. We have the new construction over here, but that's a pretty good summary for now. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have one. Is the use of the clay material you just showed, is that a new process for the city?
In our process?
Yeah, you've been using that for a long time, or is that something new you're trying?
Good question. Yeah, we used it about 5 years ago in front of the soccer goal mouths at the soccer bowl. There was just, we couldn't get any grass to grow, so we actually did an experiment, about 15 by 15 foot section. We rototilled it in that case, because the grass was almost non-existent. And then overseeded, and to this day, there's still grass there. That's a small sample, so this time we are actually doing a rototilling, which you guys all know what rototilling is, right? The product into the soil, and then also doing the aerating. And we're going to monitor our results, because there's places in the park that have a hard pan. We can't get any grass to grow. You guys all know the same spot, right? Throughout the park, and that's what the ones that we're hitting. We're not just doing the whole facility. So I hope that answered your question. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bob.
I'll keep going in a minute.
Okay.
So I'll give you some updates here on some capital projects, and then a few other things that kind of fall in between capital projects and maintenance projects. So, and a couple of these will be, you know, quasi repeats, because we've talked to you about these projects before. You're just going to get updates. I will start out with Measure O, because before I could even get in the chair today, everybody wanted to know what was going on out in front of City Hall and everything. So as you know, Measure O is not strictly a park project, but I know there's interest, so we're gonna try to give you updates as we go along. So on the east side of the campus, you all know that we have the library project. It's well underway. It's been under construction since November. That project is moving right along. It's predominantly a building renovation projects that there is some impact to the landscaping, and which will kind of affect how it rolls into Orchard City Green. You will not see those improvements until very late in the construction process. What you're seeing right now is a lot of excavation around the lower level to change the contour of the site that will ultimately allow more natural light into that lower level. And what you're also seeing is the upper level being reframed. So if you walked around the site lately, you will see that it looks like somebody's building a new house up there, because there's lots of brand new wood up top. So essentially you'll have a building where the lower level is that CMU block wall and the upper level is a wood framed building. But from the interior perspective, it will certainly feel like a new building, and from the outside, it will look like a new building. So that's the goal there. That project is moving right along. As I say, we've had a couple of things that maybe have held us up by a few work days here and there, not the least of which were the storms over the last few weeks. But we did have some hangups with PG&E disconnecting the previous electric and gas service. Those have all been addressed. So now we are able to kind of get the full, we can access the full perimeter of the building for the improvements. That takes care of the library. Coming over to the PD side, a lot of questions about, hey, I thought you were building a new police building and it looks like you're tearing up the City Hall parking lot. Both are true. The reason that the City Hall parking lot is being torn up and improved, if you will, is because there are 2 catch basins in that parking lot. And those catch basins were part of a storm sewer collection system that up until this point would take the runoff, rainwater, repeat after me, rainwater, and take it to the north. And it would run through a system that went through basically the PD lot in an underground collection system. Because that portion of the campus will be basically torn up, we cannot have the storm sewer sending water that way, because it would just basically, flood out that portion of the property. So what we have done is we have rerouted that out. You will see there's a new manhole. If you follow the new pavement, it goes halfway out to Orchard City Drive, to Civic Center Drive, I'm sorry. And now the two catch basins flow to the south rather than to the north. And there was also a dry well installed both in this lot and the PD lot where all the runoff is that's the primary way of treating the runoff, is that we hope that it percolates into the ground as it should. But under extreme conditions, as it kind of, wells up in the dry well, if it gets to a certain level, it will be carried offsite into the collection system. All that is a long way to tell you that the work in this parking lot is almost done. And beginning next Monday, we will gain back a little bit more of this lot, but the lot on the corner of North First and Grant will be gone forever. So next Monday it will be closed and the demolition will start in that lot to begin removing the pavement, the concrete, what's left of the underground storm sewer system, and so on, and reroute other utilities as they prepare the site for the building pad. So what I should have told you on the library is that we expect beneficial occupancy of the library in June of 25. So we might get our concerts back next year, Natasha, not this year. The PD project will go a little longer by a couple months. I think it's August of 24. But what that does is that will only complete the police building. At that point, we will have to take a pause, move PD from their current home into the new building, and then begin renovating the space that they vacate. So there will be a second phase to that, but that doesn't happen for a couple of years, not 17 years, no. We also, I've talked to you before about the parking lot improvement out at John D. Morgan Park. We are going to be looking at parking at the park holistically. Right now, we are focused on the lot that parallels the expressway that you access from the Rincon side. We're at about 90% of our design. We had a sidewalk earlier this week. We're getting ready to head into 100% completion, and we should be taking on those improvements this summer. It's not going to build a new parking lot. It's going to improve the parking lot that's there. It will have, I'd say, three primary benefits. First of all, it will separate the walking path, the jogging path, the running path from the parking lot. So there will be clear separation, which that in itself will provide another benefit of us being able to keep the cars out. A lot of this project was intended to make the park safer, but also keep the vehicles from having free access into the park, particularly on weekends. And I think you all know what that's about. And then lastly, we will also pick up a little bit of additional parking. And
Are you gonna go?
we're not going to go any farther. We're just going to
Okay.
reconfigure some things. There's a couple of tree wells on the expressway side that we think we can either narrow or eliminate because we planted trees along the sound wall over the last few years. And so there's a little reconfiguration. We're going to address some drainage issues out there, but you should see that project happening this summer. I'll give you more specific dates at the next meeting. The construction period on that will not be very long. It's probably a month-long project or so. We're going to wait till the end of the day camps. So
In
I
the
think
day
that's like
camps?
August or something, I think, right? Something like that.
Yeah, dude.
That's easy.
I said all that without even having to look back at you.
That's even.
Yeah, it will happen. They said that that's what you wanted. So it's like, well, okay then. We also, I think we've talked with you about what we call the Prune Yard Trail extension at some point in the past. As you know, if you're on the Los Gatos Creek Trail, there is that little extension that takes you into the prune yard right behind the parking garage, and then it kind of ends. And so we've been working off and on with Caltrans for several years, as well as the ownership of the prune yard, to look at extending that trail from where it ends at the parking garage all the way out to Campbell Avenue, where it would link back up to Campbell Avenue, right about where the portals is. So essentially it would be on Caltrans property at the base of the embankment. kind of between the Prune Yard parking lot and Highway 17. And so a big part of that was really trying to get Caltrans approval, I should say, acceptance, approval, and then have it designed. And we are at the point now where we basically have all three. And so if we can work out some funding, because of some Caltrans requirements, it's going to be a little bit more expensive project than we thought it would be, because they want fencing on both sides, right? If you're going to have access to a trail there, they want a fence on the inside that will keep people from running up the embankment to be on the freeway. And yet we also want a fence on the other side to separate the trail from the parking lot with a few cutouts. So we're basically having to install double fencing for the length of the trail. So it makes it a little more expensive, but that's what we're heading toward. And we'll give you more specific dates as that gets closer to award. Also, maybe at a future meeting, maybe in April, at the April meeting, we'll want to talk to you a little bit about having a near future meeting out at a park. We'd still like to get you out to Virginia Park to view the improvements. And we would also like to talk to you about maybe helping us with an assessment of what's left from the old park course equipment out along the trail. Because I think, you know, from helping out with the run, we have the nice new equipment in Campbell Park proper. But as you go out on the loop, you've got the old antiquated equipment that some of which should be repaired, some of which should be removed, and you will help us make that determination as to which is which.
Todd, is that your way of saying we should get more exercise?
You know what, I know Sharon's out there all the time. I can't speak for anybody else. Walking is good. Speaking of the trail, something that you might not think is a Campbell responsibility, but if you walk on the trail south of where it goes under San Tomas Expressway, you may see in the county section of the trail that there is a very small but closed section of the trail, and there's a detour that takes you, takes you down and around it. So although that is on Water District property and in a county park, the reason that section of the trail is closed is because there was a failure of an outfall. And it's a storm sewer that, believe it or not, is owned by the city of Campbell. And so we will be working with the Water District and county parks on I'll call it an improvement project, but hopefully it doesn't turn into something major. But that will be our responsibility to repair. I suspect this will take several months because it's right next to a waterway, and we'll have to wait till the proper time of the year to be allowed to make repairs. It will need to be reviewed by Valley Water, maybe Fish and Wildlife, and maybe the Water Board, just because of its proximity to a creek. But rest assured that we are going to get that fixed. So if you see that, that is something that is in our court, and we'll be addressing that. And if I haven't gone on long enough, let me remind you that, again, because I know it's in the minutes from last month, Arbor Day will be Friday, April 26th at John D. Morgan Park. And prior to that, even, we will have our Keep America Beautiful Cleanup Day, I believe is Saturday, April 13th. So put those on your calendar, and if you're inclined and available, we'd love to see you at both.
Where's the event on the 13th going to take place?
That's at the community center, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. All right. It's all yours, Natasha.
Just one comment real quick, Todd. Since Sharon and I,
Isn't allowing for comments.
Sharon and I worked at the fun run, and I did walk home. And as ironically, I went through under the bridge underneath the tunnel, and I stopped. I said, I thought there was supposed to be a trail here that we talked about years ago. So I'm
That's
glad you
it.
brought that up.
It's coming back.
All right, so one other thing, the other thing that we talked about too at the Valentine, but is there no possibility of doing any of the concerts in the parks?
So we are looking into whether or not there's adequate power at, basketball courts. And we'll probably just do one. It's part of the Park and Recreation Month if there's power. The biggest thing is power and parking. And so, and also neighbors, right? So, it becomes challenging when you have a live band blaring music and there's a hotel there, so that makes it challenging. The John D. Morgan Park, it's not adequate parking at all, and it's not walkable to the downtown, so it poses a lot of challenges, so we are gonna see what we can do, but power is the main thing. There's no power at Johnny Market Park either, that's the other thing, so it's just to run a soundboard and everything, it's not just, an extension cord, so it's significant amount of power that's coming.
Any power out at the, on the track?
We don't want to do it at the community center because we don't allow alcohol and outdoor festivals, or large events at the community center. So we allow alcohol in the buildings, but we are really refrain just because of the family oriented nature of it, that we try not to. And
Look at the one part though.
and I also don't want to be the alcohol police at an event because they all bring it. So that's the other thing. So whether or not we sell it or not, or one of the nonprofit groups is selling it, people will bring it, and then it becomes a problem for my team to have to like monitor and enforce, which is no fun. So when it's supposed to be a fun event. But yeah, we are looking to see if we can do it. Yeah. So as we mentioned, Valentine Fun Run was a huge success that happened after the last meeting that we had. So it's nice to see that many people out there on the trail. I do want to give kudos to our lifeguard team. We had 2 injuries on the trail, neither of which were participants in our race, but just people from the community who had injuries, and our lifeguards at the water stations responded and assisted with those people. So that was nice. The adult center hosted a Lunar New Year event. It was an evening event on February 23rd. They had like over 130 people show up. It was dinner, absolutely amazing live entertainment that came from the Lunar New Year event. So another huge win for them. And then, as Lauren Council also mentioned, last weekend, we had an open house event at the community center, where we offered opportunities for parents to come in and meet our recreation staff and learn about our day camp programs. We had all of our contractor vendors who offer summer camps for kids in the summer to come and meet them and ask questions, and for the kids to be engaged. Our World Cup Soccer and our Skyhawks group did some demonstrations in the main gym. It was a kind of a gloomy day, but we had steady traffic throughout the whole day. And then we also were offering swim assessments for parents so they knew what level of swim to put their children in. So that was all going on. We had a preschool open house that had families coming through to see our preschool program. And then, as she mentioned, the youth commission was doing a teen wellness, and there was a lot of teens. And then they opened up the weight room for them to come in and work out, because our weight room's open for 15 and over. So it's an opportunity for them to see it. And they opened up the main gym for them to have like basketball day. So that was a fun thing for them. A few things that are going on. Our summer preview is online. We don't print that one, so it's online only right now. We will have registration starting March 12th for our residents and open up to everyone on the 13th. The full summer activity guide will be printed and mailed in April to all of our residents. So that is on its way. We're working on it now. Our adult services is offering free tax services in partnership with the AARP. So they are there on Tuesday afternoons and Friday mornings. And they are a wonderful partner for us. We do about 400 tax returns a year with this group, and they're all volunteers who come in and help. So that is going well. The Ainsley House has reopened for spring. The garden concert series will be beginning March 10th. So tickets are on sale. Christian, who does San Jose guitar, is doing the kickoff, and there's proceeds, or a portion of proceeds are going to support, I think it's Alzheimer's dementia support. So should be a fun weekend. Lauren also mentioned that our department is headed towards more adaptive and therapeutic recreation. So she did that pilot class for the art, but our swim aquatics program has introduced adaptive swim for this summer. So that is our first like legitimate class that's in the activity guide and people can enroll in. So we're kind of moving towards that direction to kind of broaden the offerings that we have for our community. And Heritage Theater, so Mavis Staples of the Staples Singers is gonna be in the building on May 10th. And so you probably don't know who that is, or you do. I'm gonna suggest you Google her and find out. Once you know the song of the Staples Singers,
She's great.
yeah, you'll know who she is. So I strongly encourage you to do that. Colin Mockery and Brad Sherwood, you probably know them from Whose Line Is It Anyway? They are coming on May 23rd for a show at the theater. And then we have a very large artist that is coming in November in the fall. I can't say who it is, but it'll be coming out soon. So it'll be a good one. And I had one more thing on here, but I lost it. I think that might be it. Oh, bunnies and bonnets. That was the one. So I did submit the application for your request to participate. So we are in the parade for bunnies and bonnets parade. Hopefully Ron gets the car all up for me to drive and I'll get a new tutorial on choreography. So I will send an email when it gets closer, when I have more information. I go early. I park the car on Orchard City Drive. I think the parade starts at noon, so you're there by 11:15, 11:30. We just kind of pile you in the back, and then when it's our turn to go through, we go through, we wave. What we're usually, I think we're done but before one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the line it goes through, once they actually start the parade, things start moving, so it's not too bad. So, if you have your family, like, depends on how many people come, but they can be in the back or they can walk alongside, as well, so, there's options. All right.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, anyone? Well, thank you, Natasha, for your report. Okay, looks like we're down to good of the game.
I forgot to mention this earlier, but I did hear that Campbell's also working on a climate action plan. And around like the same time I don't know, there could be ways to kind of collaborate, especially with public engagement for that plan. Yeah, just to throw it out there.
Anyone else? No. Okay. Guess that's it for the good of the game, and I will close this meeting at 8:03, 2, 1,
What?
8:01, 8:02.